I just bought the cheapest claw machine off Facebook Marketplace, and in today's video, I'm going to see if I can fix it. Well, welcome back to the Underground Arcade. My name is Bronson and I am on a quest. I'm on a mission to build my own arcade in this big shed on my property. I want my own backyard arcade. And every arcade needs a claw machine, right? So I have wanted a claw machine for a while. I got a bunch of fun video ideas for this. And of course, if you've been watching before, you know I've got 3 children and they are gonna absolutely froth when they see this. I've got a bunch of stuff on the way to put in this claw machine. I'm pretty excited. The main issue, I guess, and why I haven't got one sooner is that a claw machine in New Zealand, secondhand, anywhere from $1,200 to $2,000, $2,500. I can't justify that sort of money. We're coming into Christmas, right? So I picked this one up. I saw this appear on Facebook Marketplace for $500. So I picked it up. So this claw machine came from a place called Retro Bowl, which is way down the bottom of the South Island of New Zealand. I'm up in the middle of the North Island. This came from the bottom of the South Island. Retro Bowl is like a bowling alley arcade. They were upgrading some of their old machines. Now the reason it was $500 is it needs 2 things doing to it. One, it needs a card reader or a coin mechanism. It doesn't have one. They had it on a card system. I'm going to put an old school coin mechanism in it. The other reason it was so cheap is that the gantry on this side, so this is a double play machine. The idea of this is that you have a go on the left hand side when you put your money in to win a big prize, and if you don't, you can then come over to the right hand side and win a smaller prize. Often the right hand side of these machines is just filled with lollies or little chocolate bars, like a consolation prize basically. Now the problem is this gantry here doesn't go in and out properly. It goes in a little bit, it stops, it goes out a little bit, it stops. It does move, the motor does move a little bit, so I know the motor's probably all right, but there's some sort of electrical fault on this side of the machine. So in today's video, we're hopefully going to fix that. We'll start with trying to fix the gantry, diagnose that, and then we're going to install a coin mechanism in the front. I'll show you how we do that, and pull a bit of the old card reader guts out of it. And then, yeah, we're going to have a play, hopefully get it going, and then I've got a couple of neat video ideas for this machine. All right, we'll put the machine in test mode and I'll show you what I mean. I realize it's a bit tricky to film in here with all the glass and lights and mirrors and reflections, but you can see the front gantry, left and right, forward and back. And so if we pretend we were going to grab something, and this will return now to the home position, it detects that we haven't won a prize, so now the side gantry here kicks in. But as you'll see, I'm going forward and back and nothing's happening. So if we go forward, we'll see it kick in just for a little bit there. So if we go forward, so it goes for a few seconds and it stops, which is quite confusing. Oh. And then it returns to drop the prize. It detects we haven't picked up a prize, so it goes back. But from this position here, I can't go back any further. It just won't allow me. So the plot thickens a bit. I just was moving this manually by hand and trying to test it out, and now I'm getting an error 7, an E7 code on here. I don't think it's the left side because that does find home and everything like that. So let's go figure out what an error 7 is. So this is the claw mech with the cover off, and I think I see the problem already, which is nice. This is the cord that comes up here over this pulley, back down over this tensioner pulley, and then back up to here. But I don't know if you can see there, it's actually got caught over a pin, which is like the return stop for this tensioner here. So I think at some stage, because it's been in the wrong position, the claw's gone down maybe on the Perspex divider, and it's meant there's a bunch of slack, and the slack's just hopped up around there. So I think with a bit of luck, we can get this off somehow. What I don't want to do is fray or damage the ropes. I think we can push that up there, pull that down a bit, and hopefully slide that off. Oh yeah, so you can see that's hooked around that pin there. So I think that looks a lot better. You see how that tensioner works now and hits that stop, and that's what also activates this sensor here and this sensor here. These are the up and down sensors, so it lets the machine know when it's up and when it's down. So that's looking a lot better now. I don't think that was the original issue though. There is something stopping this from traveling back and forth. You can see up here that the wiring loom comes up from the back of the cabinet and it comes down this kind of tank track looking thing, and that's what protects the cables as the gantry moves back and forth. And so it's kind of going a little bit and then stopping. Sometimes there'll be a frayed cable in this loom somewhere, and as it hits a certain point, it'll short out and stop. And then, you know, when it's at a certain point, obviously the cables are touching and it can go. So I think what we're going to have to do is unbolt this top bit here, unscrew that. There's a plug at the back, and we'll take this whole loom here out. You can see the end of the loom there. And we'll just inspect the loom for any damage, and we'll inspect all the pins and the plug and things like that. Come out. I've pulled this end of the loom out. This is the end that moves the most. And look what we have right here. We have a broken wire. So I suspect what's happening is as the gantry is traveling forward, that circuit is connecting. And then when it's going back, it is disconnecting because of that broken wire there. You can actually see in this loom, there's been other repairs done in the past. There's a bit of heat shrink there. So we're going to do exactly the same thing here. We're going to fix this up, resolder it, reheat shrink it, and put it all back together and see if we fix the problem. So we're all back up and running now. It turns out when the rope got caught up before in this, it actually tripped and blew the fuse for the what was labeled the UDM, which I guess is the up-down motor. So there was a fuse in the board below that was blowing. I replaced the fuse, and now we're back up and running. So we have a working claw machine. So this right-hand gantry now travels back and forward like it should. It doesn't get stuck, it doesn't stop moving. We fixed it, which I'm pretty happy about. I guess that is a weak point on these machines where the loom is constantly bending and unbending of those really thin wires. It's bound to happen, right? So that's probably why there's like 3 or 4 other repaired bits on that loom. And if this ever stops working or this claw stops working, I'll know what it is. So the arcade this machine came from had card readers, so there would have been a card reader on here that you swipe a preloaded card, you know, you preload credit onto your card, you swipe the card. We're going to go old school, we're going to put a coin mechanism in it, and we're going to coin this up for New Zealand $1 coins. I picked this cheap coin mechanism up. I'm hoping it's not too hard to set up and sort of get working for the coin I want it to work on. There are instructions that came with it, but they're in terrible English, so no offense if you're watching this and you wrote these instructions. They're going to be hard to follow. So we're going to plug it in first and just see what happens when we put one coin in, and then we'll program it from there. There is a bunch of extra stuff in here we don't need. So this whole wiring harness here was for that other card reader. It's got all sorts of extra power and switches on it. And also up here there's a board, a video credit board. We don't need that because that is part of that card reader as well. So all we're going to end up with is the 4 wires that come out of this loom here, which are these 4 here. And they are basically 12 volts, a ground, the coin common, and the coin NO. So that's like the counter. So those 4 cables there will get snipped off and resoldered onto these 4 cables. And then, yeah, then this plug on the end of this loom just plugs into this board, and we'll put it all in there, see how it works. So yeah, time to turn the soldering iron on again, and we'll start by snipping and getting rid of all of this. So after a couple hours of toiling away, and I actually realized I turned the camera off, but I wired that coin mech the wrong way around. I didn't read the instructions properly. So I mucked around for an hour before realizing I needed to wire it the other way around. Turns out the green wire coming out of the machine is not the ground like I thought. The black is the ground, the green is the coin wire. So I fixed it up and it's working perfectly. It's coined up for $1 New Zealand coins. I went through the coin learning process and it worked really well. So now my arcade has a functioning claw machine. So I've got a couple of fun videos planned for this claw machine. I'm going to have a bit of fun with the children, and I'm also going to dive into some of the settings and some of the ways these machines can be configured to make it harder to win. Let's say make it a little bit harder to win, a little bit more frustrating. So we're going to dive into the sort of behind the scenes, I guess, of claw machines in the next video. And then, yeah, I'm going to, the plan is I've just ordered a bunch of toys off this to fill this up. And instead of paying my kids pocket money, I'm going to pay them in tokens for a claw machine when they do jobs, and they can learn how to gamble, I guess. They can spend their pocket money in my claw machine, so I earn my own money back, don't I? So yeah, plenty of fun coming up. We've also got some other cabinets we're going to look into for the arcade. I've got some old retro gaming I want to look into as well. I've just bought a bunch of CRT TVs for a project, so I've got heaps coming up on the channel. So if that sounds like a bit of you and you want to follow along on my quest to build my own arcade, hit that subscribe button. If you're having a problem with your claw machine, let's have a chat in the comments, eh? Just let me know in the comments what's going on, or if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments. Commenting is free on videos and it helps channels like me a lot. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.